This technology takes things that are considered negatives, that are considered liabilities, and turns them into positive assets. We've long thought of garbage as an encumbrance on the niceties of our life. Well, we're now taking something like that and something that is considered a liability, not only experientially but also financially, and turning into positive things. And we're creating a better world by taking all of the garbage that we have and turning it into not only power but also getting rid of its absolute presence in there. It is a way to take any form of garbage that has a BTU value, that has an energy value in it, and turning it into energy with zero emissions. And that's never been done before anywhere in the world.
The concept of waste to energy has been in my mind for well over 15 and approaching 20 years. It's not only developed it, it's proven. It's a technology that we've been testing well over 5 years by operating and running it. We also are backed by major corporations that give us warranties and guarantees because we're a systems integrator. We also offer an insurance warranty that nobody else in the world has. We offer a policy through Lloyd's of London that guarantees the production as well as the components of our system, and nobody else has that in the world.
How long did it take for you to understand this? When you met Kim and when, I mean, was it instantaneous or did you have
I'm not. I am not a well-grounded scientist. Kim is, and to the point where he's also can be imaginative in the world of science. I have found very few people that have walked into our offices here that have strong engineering backgrounds, and I haven't seen a single one be able to ask a question that he hasn't been able to answer and answer completely so that it satisfies them. He's that well grounded, but he's able to think in the world of science, to imagine in the world of science. That is not me. But I'm an application imagination engineer. I can see the applications and I understand them. And I understand the power of those. So from a marketing standpoint, that's kind of, I think, that's where I kind of work from my strength.
I just look at this kind of technology and what I term as problems in the world in a different way. I don't see it as a negative, I see them as positive. John and I, as my partner, we've always looked at it from that perspective. We don't call it waste, it's actually commodities. It's something that can be used over and over and over again. It's not something we want to bury or throw away. We want to convert it, which is what our technology is conversion into something that's reused over and over again.
This is world changing.
It's culture changing. This technology has not existed anywhere in the world. And if you look at the applications, the incredible number of applications that this technology has, you scratch your head and you go, where do you begin and where does it end? It's what I refer to as a terminal technology. We may be doing refinements of the technology, but the idea of taking waste in any form and turning it into energy of any form with zero emissions really is, it's a game changer. And it's also an end game too. It isn't going to get any more zero emissioned. You know, I finally hit the wall on this. Now there will be refinements to the technology, but this is we've got a terminal technology here now.
What seemed to me is that, you know, we're gonna look back in 5, 10, 15 years and we're gonna say, we used to do it how?
Mm-hmm. Well, the very interesting thing about this, and Kim and I laugh about this, but it's quite true, that all of the other areas of man's existence has been impacted by the proliferation of technology, except waste. We still do the same thing that we did with waste back when our knuckles scraped the ground. We burn it or we bury it. And the same thing exists today. We've never had the imposition of high tech on the whole world of waste. So as a consequence, we are swimming in our waste, we are living around our waste, and we are ingesting our waste. And this is the big step forward that begins to change. But it's also this is also a puzzle piece in the whole change of where energy is going. And this is what makes us so proud to be able to offer this technology and make it available. Is I've described it as a terminal technology, but it is a wonderful puzzle piece in this whole new energy picture that's going to be moving so rapidly through our existence over the next 2, 3 to 5 years. The whole scape of energy is going to change. We'll look back and go, I can't believe that we actually put gasoline in cars and that made sense. You know, it's like, that's going to be coming very, very shortly.
We've got a team of people that we work with, including my partner, John. We've been together for going on 12 years now. But one person isn't responsible for this. It's a team of people. It's different ideas, including my own son, who's on some of the patents as well. So it is a team, an organization that we put together and improved our technology. We just didn't throw it out in the marketplace and say, hey, here it is, world, jump on it. We actually proved it. We created the warranties and guarantees that back and support it. This blue box that you see right here is the power supply for our waste to energy technology that converts solids and liquids, pollution or waste, into different forms of energy. The way this system works is that we produce our own electricity. Electricity travels through that, it's converted from AC to DC. We change the frequency of that and convert it back to AC, mix it with water, and run it through these rubber hoses that creates electromagnetic field. We take different forms of waste. In this example, it's tires. This is shredded tires from semis and automobiles. We take that and put that up into the unit where it goes into a vacuum state and is processed down into our auger and travels the distance of the silver box. Inside the box is the rubber hoses that are wrapped around the augers, and that creates electromagnetic field. This helps break the solids down to a synthetic gas, and then we convert that into different forms of energy, including diesel, jet fuel, gasoline, or even electricity. Also, one of the byproducts that comes out is carbon black. And we'll show you what that looks like as a recyclable material as well. Absolutely no waste, no emissions, and no pollution. This all operates right indoors. No pollution at all. Okay, to understand our technology, and we want to talk a little bit about microwaves. The way a microwave works is that it takes a frequency and vibrates water molecules very quickly that produces heat in your food. We do something similar, except we take electromagnetic current and create a field around the metal itself. We vibrate the metal molecules very quickly that produces the heat, and in turn that breaks down the feedstock. So it's, in one sense, it's similar to microwaves, but in another it's totally different. However, our cost of operation and stuff is much, much lower than microwaves. First off, it is a conservation of energy, so it's an efficiency issue. So it makes it extremely efficient and lowers the cost of actually operating the unit. Secondly is that we produce all of our own electricity, so we're truly recycling everything. The system is electronically controlled. It's operated by a computer, and it can function right on your smartphone or computer. Inside is all the electronics that transmits and allows us to control the system entirely, no matter where it's located around the world. We actually break it down into different zones or different temperatures. This allows us to control the different types of feedstocks. So one machine can do any type of feedstock that we choose.
So there'll be different temperatures for different type of feedstocks, is that it?
Yeah, there's different types of temperatures, duration, and pressure that determines how quickly and what type of commodities that we produce from the feedstock.
And that's important because you're going to have somebody who's going to have this machine, and they're going to have a ton of different waste they need to get rid of, right?
Right, and so in 1 hour it switches over and does different types of feedstock, whatever you Okay, so municipal solid waste, which is your garbage that you produce in your home and in businesses, we convert that simply by shredding it up, and it can be anything from magazines, carpeting, plastics, even grocery bags that you have, plastic bottles, water bottles, plastic water bottles. And this allows us to convert it into a synthetic gas. We can recycle it and make it back to plastic again if you choose to, or we can make it into liquid fuels for transportation and or electricity. Plastic is not an environmental problem. It's human behavior is the problem. We can take the plastic and convert it back into synthetic gas and then make more plastic out of it. Instead of dumping it into the oceans or landfills, we're actually truly recycling it 100%. So what we have here is an example of some contaminated sand from the beach of the Gulf that we've actually processed and run through our machine directly, and this is how it comes out. We've had the sand tested by an independent third-party laboratory, and there's actually no traceable amounts of hydrocarbons in this sand. In other words, it's cleaner now than it was before. This is an example of what we do with our technology for automobile tires as well as off-road and semi tires. We take the whole tire and we shred it down to 1 inch plus minus. We stick the tires with the metal left in it inside of our unit. The steel comes out in a little ball like this, and it's sold as recyclable steel. The carbon black is processed and turned into a powder that we sell back to the tire manufacturers or other rubber manufacturers, including this plastic that's on these chairs. We get an industrial chemical from that, and we process this through our distillation unit, and it converts it into medical grade distilled water, and also converts the chemicals into a powder that we sell back to the tire manufacturer to make more automobile and commercial tires with. This is in a powder form, and you can see the high sulfur content. Sulfur is what gets you mileage on your tires. So this is a very valuable commodity. We recycle the tire 100% with no emissions or pollution. About 13% of an automobile tire is steel. On the commercial tires, like your big mining tires, they can be as much as 60% steel. But this is high quality steel that we collect 100% and recycle it. It goes into all different kinds of products, including making you brand new automobiles or other different kinds of components that are made out of steel. But it is recycled 100%. This is a form of medical waste. This is syringes and hypodermic needles that's been put into a sharps container through a proprietary and patented method of heating it. And it makes this briquette, and you simply, a doctor, dentist, veterinarian, can put it in the mail and mail it to me. And we process it 100%, including the needles, and the needles are recycled as steel. And they're a very, very high quality medical grade steel. So it's very valuable, but it cuts the cost of medical waste disposal significantly, and it does not send anything to a landfill. Here in Las Vegas, the cost of standard garbage or municipal solid waste is about $50 a ton to put in the landfill. Medical waste is about $500 a ton to process. So by putting it into this briquette, mailing it to me, and I convert it 100% into energy and recycle the steel, I've cut the cost significantly.
Talk about the byproduct as far as the water that comes out. What's so special about this water?
The problem with water in our world right now is it's tough to find clean water. And what we produce as a byproduct, it's probably, this is the most wonderful side of this, is that we produce large amounts of medical grade distilled water, along with the technology and turning, in addition to the waste aspect, waste to energy aspect, we're also producing water. We have a desalination technology, which is also singular in the world, that rather than producing the salt slurry that the current state of the art is right now, that salt slurry is then thrown back into the ocean, which creates a kill zone and it destroys everything around it. And they depend upon the dissolution of this over a period of time through the change of tides to say that it's okay. Well, it's not okay. We have a better technology for that. We produce medical grade water out of this. Current state of the art does not. They can take the salt out of the water, but they can't take all of the toxins out of the water. They can't take the antibiotics that are sitting in our water, all the sulfur, any of the other chemicals that are still in the water. So they just go back in, and that we're just drinking the same old water. It just doesn't have salt in it. Our technology is different, so that we now take that salt slurry, and it's now a rock, a hard rock salt that is saleable, as everything is. It's a wonderful saleable commodity. But we end up producing the medical grade water, and we have ways of double hydrogenating that, so that's a very similar water that the Olympic athletes were drinking, that double hydrogen water. We can do anything we want with the water. We can, but we produce large amounts of it, so it's an enormous plus to our system. I think the great users of our technology are going to be island. This is an island technology, very applicable to that. If you think of all of the islands in the Caribbean, the Bahamas, all around the world, they're impacted by their waste issues more immediately than a large landlocked community might be, because there's always a way to dispose of waste. On an island, they can't. They are stuck with the waste that they have on their island, and they've got to find a way to get rid of it, or they become their waste, if you will. So you can imagine how this is, and also the byproducts, they need energy. They need fresh water. So we produce wonderful, it's a wonderful application as an island technology. It's going to be wonderful for certain industries that are major polluters, like agriculture. The hog farms, biggest polluters, and probably they consider the hog farms our #1 issue in terms of pollution. We take all of that and change that entire industry so that you could live next to a hog farm and you wouldn't know it, you wouldn't smell it. None of the effluent, none of that stuff exists anymore. It's all gone, and it's a clean industry with a zero carbon footprint, a zero impact on the environment.